I never thought a single sentence could unravel everything we had built, but that's exactly what happened on my birthday. The day I turned 32 was supposed to be ordinary. A small gathering of friends, a homemade cake, and laughter echoing through our apartment. Instead, it became the day I discovered my wife's betrayal, and somehow my own inability to see it coming. "Don't joke about it," I said quietly, my voice steady but my gut twisting. "Not today. Not ever." She raised an eyebrow, smirking as she placed a perfectly wrapped gift in front of me. "Relax," she teased. "I'm not that cruel." It was my birthday, yes, but it was also a reminder. A reminder that last year, a similar joke had almost started an argument. I had told her then, and I would tell her again. The thought of her cheating, even as a joke, cut deeper than any knife. She had promised. I should have walked away that moment. I should have left before the words even left her mouth. "I was just joking," she said, her laughter bubbling like champagne. "You're too serious, you know." But humor had never felt so sharp, so deliberate in my life. I looked at her, really looked. Her hazel eyes sparkled with mischief. Or was it something else? My heart tried to steady itself, clinging to the memory of the woman I thought I knew. The one who held my hand through my mother's illness. The one who cried with me when Dad's funeral emptied the house of warmth. The woman who said she loved me, still loves me. I don't think that's funny," I said, my hands trembling slightly as I reached for my wine glass. "You know I can't joke about that. Ever." Her smirk faltered for a fraction of a second, and that's when I should have seen it. The flicker of impatience, the tiny sigh she couldn't hide. I ignored it, thinking I was overreacting. "You're wound up," she said, walking closer, brushing her fingers along my shoulder. "It's just a joke. Stop being so paranoid." But paranoia doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from intuition, from knowing the person sitting next to you better than anyone else, from seeing cracks that you hope are just shadows. I should have walked away. I didn't. That night, the party swirled around us. Friends laughing, glasses clinking, music too loud, candles flickering. And I watched her. I watched her laugh, the kind of laugh I didn't recognize, the kind that made me feel like I was on the outside of her life. The turning point was subtle, almost cinematic in its cruelty. She excused herself to the kitchen. When she returned, she wasn't alone. "Hey babe, come meet Alex," she said, her tone casual, almost proud. "Alex." My blood ran cold. I forced a smile, shaking hands with a man I didn't know, feeling the bile rise in my throat. "You two know each other?" I asked, trying to mask the panic that threatened to erupt. "Oh yeah," she said. "He's just a friend." But something in the way she said it, too smooth, too practiced, told me everything. I retreated to the corner of the living room, sipping my wine like a man who'd already swallowed something bitter, and I watched. And I waited. And then she did it. She leaned into him. Just slightly, enough that I could see the curve of her cheek against his shoulder. My heart stopped. My mind screamed. But my mouth stayed shut. I left the party, my shoes crunching against the hallway tiles, my hands shaking. I didn't yell. I didn't plead. I just walked out into the night, letting the cool October air bite my skin, hoping it would numb the realization creeping up my spine like ice. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I sat on the curb outside our building, staring at the city lights, pretending the world hadn't shifted under my feet. Pretending my marriage hadn't been built on a foundation of lies. I remember the night in fragments. The way her laughter haunted me. The way Alex's grin felt like a punch to the gut. The way my own silence became my armor. I didn't cry. Not yet. The next day I found the texts. First they seemed innocent, friendly even. But as I read, the words grew sharper, colder, unmistakable. "Can't wait to see you tonight. I wish he wasn't home. I can't stop thinking about you." Every message was a dagger. Every emoji a betrayal. And in that moment, I realized she hadn't just joked on my birthday. She had been lying for months. I confronted her in the apartment the following morning. The living room smelled like yesterday's celebration, faintly of cake and stale wine. She was perched on the edge of the sofa, scrolling through her phone. Why? My voice was low, tight, like a cord stretched too thin. She looked up, startled, and then, annoyed. Why what? Don't lie to me, I said. Don't even try. I know. Her face twisted, a mixture of guilt and defiance. You don't know anything. I know everything, I said. The messages. The nights you said you were at a friend's. The way you've been looking at him. There was silence. She bit her lip, and I swear I could see the calculation behind her eyes. And then she laughed. Bitter, hollow laugh. It was just fun, she said, shrugging. You're too dramatic. I was bored. You don't understand women like me. And that was it. That was the line she drew. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hurt her, to shake her until she understood the weight of her betrayal. But I didn't. Instead, I did the only thing I could do. Left. Again. I spent that night in a hotel, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling the slow, inexorable collapse of everything I thought I knew. I thought about our wedding, our plans, our promises. I thought about all the mornings she smiled at me, all the times she held me when I cried, all the nights I stayed awake listening to her breathe. And I realized she had been betraying me in small increments long before that cursed birthday joke. I called my closest friend, James. He came to the hotel the next day, bringing takeout and a bottle of whiskey. Damn, he said when I told him everything. I didn't want to believe it. But, can see it. You deserve better, man. You really do. I wanted to hate her, to unleash the fury simmering inside me. But I couldn't. I was too tired, too broken, too hollowed out to even feel anger properly. Instead, I felt grief. Pure raw grief. Not just for myself but for the life we could have had. For the trust I'd given her, unquestioning and full. For the love I thought was mutual, only to discover it had been a performance. A week later, I returned to our apartment. She was there, acting as if nothing had changed. As if I hadn't seen the texts, hadn't felt the betrayal, hadn't walked out into the night feeling like my world had been stolen. I looked at her, and the weight of all the nights, all the secrets, all the lies, pressed down on me. We're done, I said simply. She blinked. Done? What are you talking about? Us, I said. Everything. I can't do this anymore. You lied. You betrayed me. I don't recognize you. She laughed. Again. But this time it was empty, nerveless, like the sound of wind rattling a broken window. You're overreacting, she said. It was just a fling. It didn't mean anything. But it did. Every stolen kiss, every whispered lie, every moment she hid the truth, every single piece of it meant everything. It destroyed the life we built. Destroyed me. I packed a bag and left, leaving her standing there, her mouth open, eyes wide, and for the first time powerless. Divorce papers came 2 months later. She tried to argue for half of everything, claiming I hadn't been attentive enough, claiming I had driven her to seek excitement elsewhere. I didn't fight. Sign. Let her have her stories, her lies, her half-truths. I wanted nothing from her except the freedom to heal. Healing was slow. Every night I lay awake, remembering her laughter, the way she joked about cheating as if it were a trivial thing. And every day I reminded myself that her betrayal wasn't a reflection of my worth. It was a reflection of her choices. Months later I met someone new. Someone patient, kind, honest. Someone who didn't make jokes about heartbreak. Someone who held my hand not out of obligation, but because she wanted to. And for the first time in a long time I felt like I could breathe. I never forgave my ex-wife. I never will. But I stopped hating her. I stopped thinking about her in the quiet moments when grief wanted to take hold. And slowly, painfully, I started to trust again. Because betrayal is not the end of love. It's the end of illusions. And once the illusions are gone, there's a chance, just a chance, that something real can grow.